Right, so for today's session, all you're going to need is your mat, and we are going to be focusing a bit of a different one today on our hands, wrists, feet and ankles. So hopefully this will be quite good for you. Those of you who run or sat at desk all day, office working, it's an area that no one really stretches off or looks after, and they are the areas that we use the most. So actually we're going to just start in a standing position on our mat. Sorry, I confused you all by sitting down. So come to a standing position on your mats. Think about spreading your feet, lifting the toes, feet are hip distance apart. Press the feet firmly into the ground, engage through the legs, tuck that tailbone under. Nice, sucking your navel back towards your spine, rolling those shoulders back and down, lengthening through the crown of the head. A nice upright posture position. And in your own time, just take 3 deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, try and release any tension in your neck or shoulders and let them slide slowly down your spine. As you inhale, think about lengthening through your spine. And then exhale, let go. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then we're going to begin with churning our wrists and our ankles. So there's 2 ways you can do the wrists. You can either take them out in front of you and rotate them out to the side, and then we'll rotate back inwards in a minute. Or you can take a hold of your hands, interlace the fingers, clasp the hands together and push forwards with the wrists. While you're doing that, you can churn your ankles. So again, there's 2 ways, just standing on one leg, rotating one ankle at a time, or you can take the top of the toes to the floor and rotate through the knee to get that churn all the way through the toes and the ankle at the same time too. So pick whichever variation you prefer. We're going to go for about 10 rotations of that ankle. 9, 10, and then come back to center, switch over sides, and then with the hands, rotate in the opposite direction. So you might find one ankle's a bit tougher than the other. And again, we're aiming for about 10 or so rotations. And relax. From here, we're going to inhale to lift our hands up above our heads. Interlace the fingers and then push the palms towards the ceiling. Take a nice deep breath in as you reach up, pressing the hands away from the head, up towards the ceiling. Take 3 deep breaths. With every inhale, see if you can press a bit further. Exhale, and if you want to, you can just tilt from side to side and get that stretch in the side body as well. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale, and just release the hands. Shake out the wrists, shake out the ankles, and then we're going to bring the hands together. So we're going to do Namaste hands. So option to do this in front of you, or you can take the hands back behind you and do it from there as well. So it's a little bit harder and engages more of the shoulders. So test yourself out. See if you can just push your palms together behind your back. So I'll just turn around so you can see my hands there. So it's the same as the Namaste in front, just behind. From here, we're just going to think about at the same time flexing our ankles. So standing in that Tadasana position, you're just going to lift one heel off the floor and stretch through those toes. And you're just going to alternate from side to side. We're going to do about 5 reps each side, pausing on each lift. You should feel this in your toes, maybe up in the front of the foot as well. We'll go for 1 more each side. And then release the hands, shake them out and shake the feet out as well. Take the feet now slightly wider apart, so find your squat stance. Inhale as you lift all the way up, extended Tadasana, palms together at the top, and then exhale as you come down into your garland pose. I'm just going to twist this way. From here, we're going to just sit and pulse in the bottom of that squat. So we're aiming for about 10 or so pulses. Keeping that torso nice and high, just opening up those hips, using those elbows against the knees to open the hips further. Taking deep breaths as you do this. So this should be getting into your ankles. You can start to rock from side to side as well. If you want to, that will kind of get into your ankles a bit more. And then we're going to come down into a seated position, taking the feet straight out in front of us and the hands straight out in front of us. We're going to basically fist and flick with the hands and point and flex with the feet. So you're going to flick as you point and then fist as you flex the feet. So we're just going for 10 points, fists and flicks. And then we're slowly going to come forwards into that seated bound ankle pose. So taking the soles of the feet together, bring the heels in towards the groin area, and then hold your feet as if you're holding a book and opening it. So thumbs are in the heel arches, fingers wrap around the top of the foot, and then you're using your elbows against your thighs or shins or calves to press the legs down, and then inhale to lift and lengthen through the spine. Exhale as you reach your nose for your toes. Take a nice deep breath all the way in. Exhale. We're here for 5 deep breaths. If you're feeling a bit more comfy, see if you can bring your heels even closer to your groin for the last few breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. Reach your nose further for those toes and then slowly come up. And we're going to take our legs round and back behind us, coming into a kneeling position on our mats. Taking the hands to the front 2 corners of the mat, tuck the toes and step back to your down facing dog. From here, we're just going to take 5 deep breaths as we pedal through the feet. So think about, with the hands, most importantly, gripping the mat properly to protect them. So grip through the fingertips, press down through the knuckles, and then with the arms, pull the shoulders apart, press the head through the arms, extend through the spine as you point that tailbone high. So take a soft knee first to begin, find that length in the spine, and then start to pedal from side to side through the feet, opening up the calves, the hips, the ankles, and the feet. And we're here for 5 deep breaths. So you've probably done about 2 breaths already. Just take your time, ease into the back of those calves and ankles. Last deep breath all the way in. And then exhale, just come to still. Maybe press the heels towards the floor and pulse through those shoulders a few times. And then we're going to come down into a kneeling position on our mats. So now we're going to work deeper into the wrists. So taking the hands to the floor, fingertips pointing away, we're going to rock forwards and back over our fingertips, but keeping the heel of the hand glued to the floor. So make sure your heels, pads and fingertips are all glued to the floor, but having that gap in underneath the fingers and the palms. And you're just going to rock forwards and back 10 or so times. As far as mobility allows. You don't have to go as far as I am or anyone else. Just gently easing into those wrist joints. Last 2. And then come back to center and relax. Taking the hands out to the edge now. So fingertips out to the side. Take them under your shoulders to begin with. And we're just going to rock side to side. Opening up the wrists in a different direction. Again, keeping the heels of the hands glued to the floor. We're going to go for 10 or so reps each side. Last few reps. And then from here, we're just going to walk the hands so the heels of the hands come together and maybe your arms come together, but just go as far as you can. And then we're going to rock from side to side again. So it should feel slightly different than that slightly wider positioning of the hands. Again, 10 or so reps side to side. Last couple each side, and then come back to center. Taking the hands now, again, back underneath your shoulders and fingertips pointing back towards your knees. This is probably the hardest variation, so don't expect to go too far. Again, make sure the heels of your hands have contact to the mat and you've got that nice grip through the fingertips and the pads of your knuckles. From here, you're just going to sit back and stretch out the front of the arms and then rock forwards to release, sit back and stretch. So again, just 10 or so forwards and backs, but with the fingertips in the opposite direction. Two more to go. And then just come back to neutral. Sit back on your heels, shake out your wrists. They're probably feeling a bit used and abused at the minute. And then we're gonna go to fist rolls. So making a fist with your hands, you're gonna press your knuckles into the ground. So in a similar place as you've just had the palms of your hands. And you're gonna open out the hands. I'll turn this way so you can see. Open out the hands as you drop the elbows towards the floor and then press up into a fist. So just go as far as mobility allows. We're doing 10 or so fist rolls. You should feel this across the back of your hands and your wrists, but it's also engaging the muscles as well. So just a couple more reps. And then come back to neutral. From here, we're going to come into hero pose. So option to sit simply back on your heels or take your heels out to the side and sit all the way down into that full hero pose on the ground. Just be careful of your knees. This should feel great for your quads, but there should be no pain in the knees at all. Whilst we're in hero pose, this is really helpful for your ankles. And for your hands, we're going to simply just take a palm stretch. So flex the hand back towards you. And then using the other hand, just gently press the fingertips back towards your forearm. We're just going to hang out here for 3 breaths on each side. Exhale, release, shake it out and switch sides. So fingertips, they're flexing your hand back and using the opposite hand now to press those fingertips back towards your forearm. Another 3 deep breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale, and then release, shake them out. Come slightly out of hero now. We're gonna come up to that kneeling position. Tuck your toes underneath. So you're tucking your toes underneath your feet and then sitting back on your heels for a toe stretch. We're now going to flex the hand in the opposite direction. So wrist facing down. Just be careful because there's more mobility mostly and you don't want to push it too far. So pressing the hand, flexing the hand down and pressing with the opposite hand inwards to find that stretch in the opposite direction whilst you sit back on your toes. If your toes get too painful, feel free to just come back and sit in a kneeling position. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale. And then release, shake that wrist off and then do the other hand. So flexing the hand down, pressing in very gently with that opposite hand, finding the stretch and then just holding for 3 deep breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale, release, shake it all out, and then we come into a prone position. So release those toes, come down onto your front, and we're going to reach back for same foot, same hand, grabbing a hold of the foot, and if you can, flip the grip as you bring that heel towards your glute. We're going to pulse 10 times on one side and then 10 times on the other side. So you'll notice this will also get your quads at the same time, but you should also feel a stretch in your ankles as you do this. So just a few more pulses left on this side. And then hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release, switch sides. So taking a hold of the opposite foot now with the same hand, and then pulsing for 10 or so reps on that side. And then hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that leg. The final movement, almost final, sorry, second to last, penultimate. We're going to come up into that kneeling position again. And this time we're going to come into an ankle rock. So you can take the hands to the floor and just lean back, lifting your knees off the floor. So you're sat on your heels. Just gently lift your knees off. We're going to gently come forwards and back with the knees, gently increasing the height that you might lift them, stretching through the front of those ankles. We're aiming for about 10 reps. Last one, and then see if you can keep them lifted. And then if you want to, see if you can take one hand to your knee, take it back to the floor, take the other hand to the knee, and then see if you can take both hands to both knees. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release, and come back to center on your mat in a seated position. From here, we're going to come into half lotus or full lotus, so yogi's choice. We'll do 3 breaths in each, or 6 breaths, or 3 breaths each side. So you're going to take one leg, so option to come into bound ankle, cross leg position, or you can take your left leg over, placing the sole of the foot in your crutch facing upwards, and then bring, if you can, your right leg over your left, wherever that is for you. I find it really difficult on my ankles, so I'm just going to keep the right leg tucked underneath and focus on pushing that left knee towards the ground for 3 deep breaths. Running does not help your ankles. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale, and then unravel your legs, and we'll switch sides. So the left leg now goes under, the right sole of the foot comes up and over the top, placing in the crutch of that left leg, facing upwards, and then you're pressing either that right knee to the floor, or if mobility allows, and I don't think it will on this side, going into that full lotus pose. So wherever you need to be, take 3 deep breaths. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale, and then relax. Shake out the wrists, ankles, and then we're going to come down onto our backs. Finding ourselves in a supine position. Take the hands out wide, toes to the floor. Just drop the knees from side to side for a few supine twists to cool down, releasing off the lower spine. And then gently bring the knees in towards the chest, hug them in with both arms. You can rock from side to side, massage the lower back. And just take 3 deep breaths all the way in through the nose, out through the mouth. Last deep breath all the way in. Exhale, And then inhale as you come all the way up to seated. Find yourself in the center of your mat one last time. Inhale to lift your hands up above the head, palms together at the top. And as we exhale to the forehead, kind thoughts. To the lips, kind words. To the heart, kind feelings. Namaste.